So today we are going to discuss how to navigate through an international airport. And it's me. I am Hope Pavich, the Director of High School and Short-Term Programs. So I will be your guide through the land of airports. So join me as we guide our way through this. So today we're talking about this because a lot of our students are going to be flying to their program destination country independently. So we really want to make sure that you guys have a successful experience and one that you feel comfortable as well as confident. So today we're going to go through some steps to make sure you get there. Because a lot of students will be flying for the first time by themselves. Some of you may have flown before, but it's usually with family or friends. And so this is the first time that you'll be doing it solo. And although that is exciting, it can be a bit scary. So we just want to be here right beside you, even though we're not going to actually be on the plane with you. But we do want you to be empowered with knowledge, so this journey starts off in a really great way. So one thing, it's really, really good to remember that in 2015, in the US alone, there were 8,727,691 commercial flights. And what that equates to is 2,246,004 passengers flying every single day. So as much as you're going to feel like this is a isolating experience, it's not. And you're in absolutely good company. So just breathe through this experience and remember, look around and realize there's lots of other people doing the same exact thing as you are right in that very moment. So let's set you up for some success. One thing that's absolutely crucial and one thing that I have done all of my life is getting to the airport early. It's really nice to be at the airport with more than enough time, so you eliminate that stress aspect of racing to get to your flight and And we really do recommend that you get to the airport at least 2 hours prior before you take off. Personally, I actually like to get to the airport with a solid 3 hours. That way, if there's any hiccups or anything along those lines, I can take care of those stress-free. And if there are not any hiccups, then I can just settle into a nice cafe with a good book, have a cup of coffee, and just relax before my flight. So that's kind of a personal preference, though. Some people like to get there a little bit earlier. Some people like to get there right at 2 hours, but do absolutely everything you can to not get there any later than 2 hours prior to your flight. Another really great tip is to pack properly. Take a look at those TSA regulations to make sure that you're not putting anything in your carry-on bag that's going to hold up security, because you don't want to be that person holding up the security line. There's always that one person, just don't have it be you. And a lot of times it's because, you forget to put your liquids in the right size 3-ounce containers, or, they're not in a quart-size baggie, anything like that. Just make sure that you're taking a look at those regulations so you can zip through that security line as quickly as possible. It's another good idea because you don't want to be putting anything in your carry-on that you find valuable that ends up getting tossed, because TSA is not all about it. I have a very good friend that recently just came back from Quebec, and he packed some syrup and was super pumped about it because apparently the syrup in Quebec is delicious. Unfortunately, it did not fit within those TSA requirements, so he had to bid adieu to that syrup and has never seen it again. And it was really a shame because he was really excited to share it with all of us. So just make sure that when you're packing, you are incorporating the TSA regulations because they matter. So another good tip. Another one is pretty basic, but confirm all your details. Take a look at your flight times and who's picking you up and where you're going and what airport you're going to. We are based in Chicago, so that means we have 2 airports, Midway as well as O'Hare. And every once in a great moon, I might have a real early flight and be heading on to O'Hare and then have a flash of, oh wait, should I be going to O'Hare or Midway? And that's a pretty basic thing to know, is what your departure airport is. But sometimes you just take these things for granted. So a lot of the cities where our students fly into have more than one airport, so just make sure that you're taking a look at that. Just triple confirm all of those details a few days before, as well as the day of you take off. You can never really prepare too much for that. Another thing that I like to do, again, it's a preference, but I like to print off everything. I mean, everything. Nowadays, we are really reliant on our smartphones. Fantastic, great. However, sometimes technology fails us, and we'll be in the airport and trying to bring up our boarding pass, and we don't have Wi-Fi, or our service is not existent. And that's not a good feeling when you're trying to get on a flight and you don't have those things. So I recommend printing off all of that information so that you have that as a backup. The unaccompanied minor service is something that we at Greenheart don't really recommend. At any time, if you need assistance at the airport, you can just go right to the airline rep and ask for help. They are there to help, and if you are friendly and nice and just are requiring some basic knowledge and some basic assistance, especially as a teen and first-time flyer, they'll help you. So don't be shy. Go up if you do need anyone's help. Go ahead and ask for it. That's what they're there for. And, if you would like additional peace of mind, that's what we're here for. So if you do need anything and want any more assistance with that, we'd be happy to go over the airline or the airport maps and just go over the journey with you, so you're empowered to make sure that you're making those connections and you have everything that you need. Again, you can take the unaccompanied minor service, but my students have never really, very few of them have taken it, and there haven't been many issues. So we'd recommend against it, and just prepare extra beforehand so you don't need to pay another fee. Okay, some best practices for airports. Although, of course, it is very tempting to be listening to your music or podcasts or anything to distract you from the fact that you're at an airport, don't do it, because a lot of times the airlines can make announcements of a gate change over the PA. In fact, I'm a veteran traveler, and it was a few months ago. I got distracted because I was listening to music, and then I was talking, and all sorts of distractions were happening. And I was sitting at the gate, and I'm looking around, and I realized that there's really no one else around. And that's because they had announced on the PA that that my flight had changed to a different gate. So everyone was there except for me. So I got some extra exercise in that day and ran over there. So don't be a me and pay attention. Don't listen to your headphones, and just until you actually get on that flight, take the headphones out of your ears. It's really important to be aware and make sure that you are where you're supposed to be going. Again, this kind of reiterates this. The arrival and departure gate information at the airports, you'll look up and there's going to be the departures and the arrivals. Obviously, if you're leaving, that's your departure. So just make sure you're looking at your ticket and it's corresponding with whatever you're seeing on that information board at the airport. And another thing is that many countries have different rules about what's allowed in the carry-on bags. See earlier reference of syrup in Quebec. So just make sure that you're paying particular attention to where you're going, because something that you can bring here, you might not be able to bring through to France, for instance. So again, just be aware of that. So because all of our students have a lot of, you're going on international flights, they tend to be longer since they're international. So most likely you'll be having a transfer. Now, transfers can also incorporate some longer layovers. Longer layovers, nothing to be scared of, nothing to be annoyed by. You should actually embrace the longer layovers, even if they're 4 hours or longer, because this is you time. You can do whatever the heck you want. If you want to go and walk around the airport and listen to music, this time you can, fine. If you want to sit down and just read, you can. Really flip that up, the longer layovers, and make that into a benefit instead of something that you're dreading. That's really nice and very rare nowadays when we have time that we can just decide, okay, I'm going to spend the next 3 hours doing this, and it's just all about me, and I can do what I want. So take that. The other thing is, obviously, transfers can sometimes be a bit stressful if it's a shorter layover. So make sure that you're going over the airport map before you go. That way you have an idea in your mind of, okay, I'm at point A, but I need to get to point B, and this is how I get there the quickest. And you have that already set. Excuse me. If you end up flying into a different gate, then just talk and you feel a little uncomfortable, like, oh, I had planned for this and now we're changed. It's okay. You gotta kind of be flexible when it comes to traveling. You have to be flexible when it comes to traveling because things change all of the time. It's part of the excitement, it's part of the adventure of it. But if you get there and your gate changes and you're not quite sure where you are anymore in terms of the airport that you had studied, just talk to the airline representative. Again, speaking to those folks is really the best way to get the information that you're seeking, and just, stay calm. But the airports tend to have the airline maps or the airport maps on their website. So before you go, check out what airports you're going to be touching base in and look at those websites and check out the airport maps there. Okay. So because there are a lot of transfers involved, a lot of times folks miss their connections. And that's okay. This happens all of the time. All of the time. One thing to keep in mind is that, becoming just really upset helps nothing. And it just exacerbates whatever the situation is at hand. So if you do miss your connection, take those 3 seconds to just breathe, relax, don't stress out, and then go to the airline representative at the airport gate, explain to them what the situation is, and find out what your options are. The airlines are the only ones with the power in this situation. They're the ones that are in control of the flights, so they're the ones that are going to be able to help you get on the next flight to your destination. So it's important to speak with them immediately if you miss your connection. Also very, very key and highly underrated in my very humble opinion is to be as polite and respectful as possible to those folks working with the airlines, because they have a lot of angry people who are just yelling at them all day, every day. So it goes a long way, you guys. It really does. I can't emphasize enough just to be nice. Even if you're upset, it's okay. You can be nice and upset at the same time. So just go to them and say, hey, this happened, and say please and thank you, and just really show appreciation. And I guarantee they will be extra helpful for you because you've been extra nice to them. And unfortunately, that's a nice relief and change of pace for them. So be nice. Once you do have those options, and once you have all of those details, your next flight, contact the staff, the local partner staff of where you're going. You guys will be getting that information prior to your departure several times, so you'll have that, and your program manager will also remind you to have that on hand, printed, as well as electronically. So make sure that you're contacting the local staff in the country in which you're going, because they're the ones who are going to be arranging your arrival. So if your arrival info changes, they're the ones who are going to immediately need to know those details. Once you have gotten your new details from the airline and you have informed the local staff, then you or your parents can let us know at Greenheart Travel. But really key things to remember here, guys, is to stay calm, be nice, find out what your options are from the airline representatives, get your options set, let the local staff know in the country where you're going, and then let Greenheart Travel know. All right, so when you land, this is a very exciting part. You're in your destination country. You're looking out the window and it's an airport, but you're still realizing, I'm here, this is happening, oh my gosh, it's all of this that I've thought about is actually coming into fruition. So just make sure you're looking in the pocket ahead of you, or in the pocket in the seat above you, in front of you. Make sure that you're not leaving magazines or iPads, your passport. Please make sure that you have your passport and your wallet and your carry-on bag. These very crucial things. Because once you get off the plane, they're not going to let you back on the plane again. So do a triple check around when you're leaving the airplane and make sure that you have not left anything there. Once you have secured all of your belongings and you know that they're with you, you can get off that plane. And just follow the signs to immigration and baggage claim. And at airports, they will be very clear. They will be in English, so just follow those. And proceed to immigration. They're going to ask your passport, maybe your arrivals card, probably your arrivals card, which will be given to you most likely on the airplane. You just fill that out. So have that with you, and the immigration officer might ask you, well, what's your purpose of stay here, whether it be study or language school. You can just let them know. And then once you go through immigration, you get your fun stamp in your passport, and you look at it and you think, hee, I've got it. Then you can go on to baggage claims. And once you're at baggage claims, you can, obviously pick up your bag. And make sure it's your bag, because a lot of times luggage looks very similar. So when you're packing, going back to a few minutes ago, maybe put a little something extra on the handle of your suitcase, whether it be, a big bow or a sticker, a Greenheart sticker. You could put a Greenheart sticker on the handle, but make sure it sticks out. That way, when it's coming around that carousel, you know that's yours and you can grab it. But again, good to look at the luggage tag just to make sure. So once you have your bag, then you can go through customs. You guys won't have anything to declare, so you can just get the bag scanned and walk right through. You're going to walk to arrivals, where you're going to meet those folks who are picking you up, whether it be the local partner staff or your host family. But you have got to go through the arrivals hall in order to meet them. If no one has that same flight, if no one is flying that day, they're not going to be able to be in luggage with you or baggage claim with you. They're not going to be able to be in immigration with you. That's only you. So make sure that you're going through the arrivals hall in order to meet the folks that that will be picking you up. And again, you'll be having those details from your program manager prior to your departure. So we do organize those pickups, and again, we will be sending you that information. If for whatever reason you get to your airport pickup point and there's no one there, don't stress out. It could be that there's just a little bit of traffic and they got caught up in it. They will be there. They will meet you. Just stay put. Don't go anywhere. If within 15 minutes there's no one there, then you'll have the local staff number. You'll have anyone who's supposed to be picking you up, you'll have their phone number. So just give them a call. You'll have emergency numbers for both the local staff as well as Greenheart Travel. You can call them, but don't move. Don't go anywhere, because 99.9% of the time, people aren't there. It's only because they're running late due to traffic. So if you get there and freak out and then you leave, that causes a lot more problems. So just stay put. And as soon as you get with your host family or with the local staff, give your natural parents a heads up and just say, hey, I'm here, I made it, all is well, it was a smooth flight, and I'm good to go, I'm ready to start my adventure. So just make sure that you let your parents know, because regardless of whatever time it is back here in the States, I guarantee you they will be staying up to make sure they hear from you, to know that you're okay and you're starting your adventure in your country. So if you can travel, you can really do anything. And yes, flying can sometimes be scary, but it is also exhilarating and it's so exciting. And once you do it a first time, it's empowering. You can just do it again and again and again. So just remember the very basics of today. Big thing though is just stay calm and definitely triple confirm any details that you have that you'll need to follow, and have a phenomenal time. All right, guys, so this is the time for your questions. Any questions that you have, please put in the chat box and I can read them out loud, and then I will answer them with as much expertise as I possibly can.